This will probably get a little bit technical for a few people. Let me see if I can show you these drawings that, oh, I can't see what I'm looking at. There's an antenna. This is what I call a helical wound dipole. You can actually use that for any frequency. I've, I don't know if you can see it. You need to, it's a piece of 3/4 inch PVC pipe with, it's got a hole drilled in the center, just big enough for a piece of RG58 to poke through there. You hook the ground lead to, you can solder it if you want. Hook the, solder the ground to one piece of 108 inch copper wire, and then you circle that around the bottom half of the antenna. You take the center piece of the RG58 and you circle and you spiral it around the top half of the antenna. Another piece of 108 inch. That's a piece of 20 foot long, the 3/4 inch PVC. You want to use the rigid stuff, so this holds its form. You want to stand it vertical. Now this you can make it a little bit longer, and then use SWR meter to to tweak it to to get it the frequency you want, to get it resonant with your transmitter. But anyway, that's a very simple antenna. I don't know if anybody. I don't know if I invented that. I don't know if anybody else is using that. Let me show you this L. This is a more common. If you can see it's just two pieces of like number 12, number 14 inch copper. You can use heavier wire if you want, but you can see that is RG58. The ground part of the coax hooks to one leg of the L, and then the hot lead. This is a common antenna. I didn't invent this. This has been around for years. This is I want to make some unidirectional antennas. Now, if you want to build a Yagi, there's quite a number of directional and non-directional antennas, and the plans are out there. I'm sure there's lots of stuff here on YouTube, for Yagi antennas for CB, because they're out there. You can find Yagi antennas for TV and different ham frequencies, different common frequencies they use for different radio frequencies. I just wanted to pull those out there. I need to figure out how to mount a CB radio on my pickup, because the dashboard's all plastic. That's the problem. You've gotten a lot of vehicles where the dashboard's all plastic and the mount a radio. I'd want to mount a cheapy one in there, one that wasn't worth much. I don't want someone to tear up my dashboard just to get out an expensive radio. Let me show you this is something else. If you can see, I don't know if you can see how it's spelled there. MES HTASIC. Now that's up service around 915 megahertz. That's some type of private two-way messaging. I'm going to find out as much as I can about that. I didn't know anything about that until the Save It for Parts guy was talking about it. Apparently, it's been around for a few years. They're mainly concerned in the part of the U.S. where they've had a lot of ice activity, and people are using these private messaging services. They're private and semi-private, depending upon what you want to do with them. Depending upon different nodes, there's encrypted and open, text messages broadcast between different radios. Now I've seen different pieces of gear. The cheapest I've seen, they've got just some nodes, which you can use it through Bluetooth, to use it through a regular cell phone, but it doesn't use the cell phone frequencies. It's a standalone radio service. That's my understanding of it. But I've seen standalone devices from $30 to maybe a couple $100, depending upon what you want. So the equipment is out there. It's Mestatic, something like that. Now I'm going to find out what I can. I may not buy a device because I'm not sure if it's anything I'd really be interested in. The reason I put CB out there, a lot of people are getting CB equipment, getting back into CB. That the survivalists, these doomsday preppers, that type of thing. And I need to get I've got a handful of radios that still work. I need to get I've got one 40-channel single sideband base station. God, I bought that back in the early 1980s. The switch, the AM upper sideband, lower sideband switch goofed up on it. That's the reason an ex-girlfriend didn't get away with it. I had a 40-channel sideband rig, like the switch had goofed up on it. I'd taken the switch apart, it was in pieces. She didn't take that, but when she cleared out her stuff, I had, this was my radio, but she went ahead and took a bunch of my stuff just because she wanted it. But she left this 40-channel base station with a bad switch in there because it was all apart, and she didn't want that because it didn't work. Yeah, ex-girlfriends that do crap like that, they'll take stuff that isn't theirs, and I figured it wasn't worth the effort to try to get my stuff back. Just let her go. Good riddance, chick. Okay, bye bye.